Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Tau Empire as we get into the multitude of campaigns the Tau have prosecuted against the Orks. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and if you have any suggestions, just comment down below. But with that said, let's get into the Tau versus the Orks. The Tau Empire is a technological marvel filled with innovation and progress. Its goal is to advance through the galaxy and enrich the planets and peoples it encounters. The Ork race is one of the galaxy's most savage and brutal forces, with the sole purpose of stomping through the galaxy to crush and pillage everything in its wake. Both forces are the Milky Way galaxy's most antithetical xenos. The history of each race has been scarred by each other's presence, and this rivalry starts with the rise of the Tau Empire. The Tau first discovered the Orks on the planet surrounding their first major colony, Town. Signals soon arrived, reporting Ork tribes scattered across every star system they investigated. The sophisticated Tau quickly learned to pinpoint the telltale Ork signatures on their scanning equipment, and it appeared with alarming regularity that on every planet, moon, asteroid belt, and virtually anywhere that could support life, the Orks' presence was there. It took many battles before the Tau at last abandoned their futile attempt to absorb the Orks in the manner that had proven so successful with a dozen other alien civilizations. There was simply no bargaining with such creatures. The Ethereals themselves eventually conceded that these aliens were a lost cause, and amended the protocols to forego any attempt to integrate the Orks into the Tau Empire, declaring at last that the greater good was actually served by eliminating the greenskins. In their first prolonged campaign against the Orks, the Tau suffered many defeats, but were ultimately able to eradicate the greenskins, thanks in part to the Earthcast refinement of the first pulse rifle. This period of bloody war became known as the Campaign of Cleansing. Years later, in order to combat the Orks, the fortunate alliance between the Tau and the Kroot was formed. Within a decade, the Watercast had established embassies upon Pac, the capital world of the Kroot realm. As the Tau Empire continued to grow, a massive Ork fleet invaded Viorla Sapt, but it was defeated by a masterful campaign. Viorla annually passed through a gap between its two stars, a time called the Trial by Fire. It causes deadly plasma storms to ravage the planet, whose inhabitants survive by closing off protective domes around their cities. Warlord Goskrak and his fleet were lured into the storm, where they were utterly destroyed by the raging plasma radiation. Even after this tremendous defeat, the greenskins continued to assault the Tau Empire. This time, it was the Sept world of Fyovasha. At the time of the defense of Fyovasha, Ethereal Anshi was already nearly 40 years of age, old for a Tau, and was looking forward to spending his last years on the Paradise Sept of Altala. A much respected life was behind him, many long years spent helping to expand the Empire into space, by providing guidance for the Tau in his care. Hailing from the hot-blooded Sept of Viorla, Anshi had perhaps a better understanding of the Firecast and their ways of war than other Ethereals. It is said that on occasion he went as far as to join them in their battle rituals, honing his skills with the Honor Blade to a level where even a Shas Vray could not pierce his defenses. His skill with a blade had reached the level where spirit, weapon, and body had achieved complete harmony. In what was supposed to be his last assignment, Anshi led a Tau colony force to a world he named Keltir, the newest world in the expanding Tau Empire. Infested by feral Orks, initial progress in claiming the world was slow, but under Anshi's guidance, Fire Warrior teams were soon able to push the Orks back from the main areas of Tau settlements. Within 4 years, the world was flourishing. The Fyo, or the Earthcast, built many fine towns across the main continental mass. Fyovash was one such town, a mining outpost in the low foothills of the mineral-rich mountain range, some 400 miles to the east of the capital. On a tour of inspection of the outlying towns, Anshi and his bodyguards became trapped in Fyovash when a horde of feral Orks surrounded the town and launched a surprise attack to capture the mine workings. The existing garrison of Fyovash had been augmented by Anshi's Fire Warrior bodyguards, and the Orks were cut down in their hundreds. Early in the fighting, the Shavray of the Fire Warriors was beheaded, cut down by an enormous Ork knob. The loss of this heroic warrior sent a surge of panic through the ranks of the Tau warriors, and it seemed as if though their defenses would crumble. Aon-Shi leapt in front of the knob and cut him in two with one blow of his honor blade, planting the haft of his weapon between the shore halves of the corpse. Hearted by the ethereal's brave defiance, the fire warriors' line steadied, and they threw the orcs back. Again and again the orcs attacked Fjolvaj, and each time, Aon-Shi led the defenders in battle, fighting alongside his warriors and spurring them to unheard feats of valor. He dispatched stealth-armored warriors and a member of the corps, or the air caste, to take word to the capital, as he knew that against so many orcs, it would only be a matter of time until they were overrun. The battle raged on, the Tau defenders silhouetted by the flames of burning buildings. The fire warriors were fighting at the limit of courage and endurance, held together by the indomitable will of Aon-Shi. Every time their line bent back under the orc assault, Aon-Shi was there, his flashing honor blade a shimmering blur of silver steel as he cut down orcs by the dozens. Aon-Shi moved like quicksilver, dodging killing blows, twisting and weaving through the air in a graceful ballet of death. Wherever he struck, orcs died, and soon none would go near him, so fearful were they of this warrior who could not be killed. Eventually the Tau were forced to pull back to the inner perimeter of the defensive walls which the Fjol had constructed, and there they prepared for the next assault. Aon-Shi stood in the ranks with the surviving fire warriors, hoping that the corps had managed to carry word of his situation to the capital. The greenskins attacked again, and though the fire warriors slew scores of orcs with every volley, they simply could not kill enough to prevent them from reaching the walls. All through the burning heat of the day, orcs charged the defensive walls, the mound of dead before it growing every second as the fire warriors killed with grim efficiency. The walls were beginning to give in place, and the orcs poured through these gaps whenever they appeared, swamping Tau battlesuits and dragging them to the ground. Each time the orcs formed a wedge within a breach, Aon-Shi led a counterattack to hurl them from the compound. As dusk approached, less than 50 fire warriors remained alive, and both forces sensed that the end was near. As the orcs massed for the final attack, Aon-Shi ordered a retreat into the barricade shrine at the town center, knowing that there were too few of them to hold the full length of the wall. The fire warriors readied their last clip of ammunition, while the workers of the Fjol caste took up their picks and shovels, ready to fight in hand-to-hand combat. With a roar of pure hatred, the orcs swarmed over the wall and into the compound, burning and destroying everything in their path. Fire warriors shot from prepared loopholes, thinning the first wave of orcs, but unable to prevent it from reaching the building. Orcs set about the door to the shrine with giant axes, climbing the walls to smash through the roof and screaming their bestial war cries. The first orcs to enter the shrine were killed swiftly, but there were always more pushing their way inside. Aon-Shi fought at the shrine doors as they were finally ripped from their frame. Together with the last of his fire warriors, Aon-Shi stood ready to fight, his honor blade cleaving the air before him in long sweeping slashes. If they were to die, then they would die together. Suddenly, the orcs were thrown into silhouettes as a series of rippling detonations exploded behind them. Sweeping through the flames came the bulky form of dozens of devilfish troop carriers, guns chattering with deadly firepower as team after team of fire warriors poured from their interiors. Alerted by the corps, the full wrath of the Tau now fell upon the orcs' rear. Lumbering broadside battlesuits sprayed the orcs with plasma fire, cutting them down in droves as hammerhead tanks blasted huge holes in the orc mobs. Within the hour, the orcs were either dead or fleeing, and the leaders of the recently arrived fire warrior cadre found Aon-Shi still standing at the shrine doors, his honor blade slicked with orc blood, a handful of his bodyguards left alive. Despite the terrible casualties, the defense of Fjolvaj was hailed as a great victory. The ethereal shrine still stood, and the mine workings were still in the Tau hands. The survivors of the siege hailed Aon-Shi as a hero, the fire warriors pledging to serve him for the rest of their lives. News of the victory soon reached the ethereals on Tau, and rather than allow Aon-Shi to spend his remaining years on Altala, it was decreed that he lead fresh expeditions to expand the Tau Empire. There would be no peaceful retirement for Aon-Shi. In another part of the Empire, a decade-long war in which a populous Tau colony was besieged by a resurgent orc horde. It was especially notable for the rise of the exemplary pure-type protege named Commander Farsight, who swiftly followed in his master's footsteps to become a vaunted hero of the Tau Empire and a key element of the High Council's campaigns of propaganda. Future events would cause a schism between Commander Farsight and the Tau Empire. That is until an Ork invasion under Warlord Grog advanced into the Tau Empire. The populated Tau world of Atari Vo bore the brunt of the attack, before the Orks were finally defeated by the combined forces of Dalith Sept and, the surprise to many, Commander Farsight and his separatists. The Orks were defeated, but unfortunately not eradicated, which led to the Great War of Confederation. Led by the V'Or-La, many Septs combined to hold off the single largest Ork wall to have ever penetrated the Tau Empire. This campaign was also notable for the brilliant tactics and battle records of Shazo, recently awoken from stasis, who then earned the name Shadow Sun. Centuries after this tremendous campaign, a colossal Ork Gargant terrorized the cities of Hulan. Its black iron armor seemed impervious to even the most intense pulse fire and missile bombardments, and its formidable array of solid-shot cannons and projectile launchers annihilated entire Firecast cadres in mere minutes. The sadistic laughter of its Ork pilots boomed out of its Gargant's enormous Vox arrays as it crushed entire buildings to rubble with each swing of its great metal arms. Swarms of greenskins followed in the wake of this behemoth, bellowing praise to the Ork gods of war. Only the Borkon Earthcast scientist, Tulan, and his experimental weapons division stand in the way of this monstrosity. Tulan ordered the deployment of 6 KV-128 Storm Surge weapon platforms, each armed with multi-phase locked pulse arc cannons, a new refinement of these devastating devices. Even though these were enormous Storm Surge ballistic suits, they were dwarfed by the sheer size of the Ork Gargant. But when they fired their arc cannons simultaneously, the beams converged, melding into an array of destructive energy as wide as a star scraper. This battering ram of pure annihilation burns through the Gargant's metal torso, setting off a chain reaction of detonations that tore the massive construct apart. And with that, Tulan marked the first field test of his new technology as an impressive success, though the power of the channeled plasma energy entirely immolated 3 of the 6 Storm Surge platforms. In another notable campaign against the Orks, known as the Blooding, elite city fighting cadres from Sacia were sent to reclaim the colony of Olmi from an Ork infestation. Advancing street by street, the breacher teams utilized airburst marker light flares and overwhelming aerial support to identify and destroy the largest congregation of greenskins. So brutal was the close quarter fighting that the Sep's Firecast referred to this campaign as Mont Yern, the Blooding. The survivors of the war were held in the highest regard. Although the Tau's unity has proven effective against the Orks, there have been many Ork warlords that have bested the technologically cohesive Tau Empire. On the Tau Sept world of Kelishan, the Earthcast engineers proudly reveal an immense new colony speeding craft. This monolithic spacefaring vessel is named in the Tau language as Hope's Light. On its maiden voyage, and with over 300,000 Tau colonists and warriors on board, Hope's Light is boarded by the Ork fleet of Megaboss Mork Rog and lost with all hands. For the next decade, the Kelishan Sept faces brutal raids from Mork Rog's vast new looted warship, Tau Killa. After a temporary parley with Badrock's freebooters in the Trugrot system, Warlord Nazdrak turns his war towards the Farside enclaves. The mighty Bad Moon's war leader has heard the tales of the War of Daka, and is dead set on proving that his lads are far shootier than some shitty bunch of pirate gits. Besides which, Nazdrak has now heard of the Storm Surge artillery walkers, and is intent on building one into a Stampa. Soon enough, Commander Farsight and his Tau followers find their worlds beset by a fresh new peril. Ork warlords fighting against the newly established empire of the Tau have often found themselves sorely outgunned. This has always been irritating to the Ork forces involved, and sometimes even resulted in greenskin retreats, the warlords muttering to themselves that the Tau have no idea how to fight proper. One exception is Walgrog, a crusade of vengeance that extended deep into the territory of the renegade Tau commander Farsight. Grog Ironteeth, the war chief of Alsanta, had become one of the Tau Empire's most deadly foes. His fleet engaged the Kroot war spheres, drifting through the space lanes of Dalith. Grog had found that the Kroot made excellent opponents. They were mercenary aliens who preferred to engage at close quarters, and they could be relied upon to provide a vicious brawl upon which the Orks thrive. Just as the two races were settling in for a protracted campaign of head-bashing, the Tau came to aid their crude allies. Grog was furious. He declared war upon the Tau, determined to show them that the Orks were not to be trifled with. Unfortunately, the war chief's initial invasion of the Tau Sept world did not go according to plans. His armies were outclassed and outgunned again and again. Though he had an entire empire of Orks to throw into battle, he found that their numbers were being whittled away with worrying speed. Grog decided to take a different tactic, enlisting the help of as many tankbusters, flashkits, and freebooters as he could, including the mercenary Captain Badrock. With this upgrade to his arsenal, he prepared to battle once more. Grog encountered even fiercer resistance as he penetrated the Farside enclaves in the north of the Tau Empire, but this time he was more than ready. Ludas, carrying crackling death guns converted from captured Tau weaponry, exchanged lethal volleys of fire with the Tau gun lines. Battle wagons and looted hammerhead tanks pounded the massed ranks of the Tau fire warriors with heavy munition, as Grog and his boys stomped towards the enemy gun lines. Deathcopters corkscrewed through the skies in aerial battles with battlesuit teams, preventing them from disengaging. Most impressive of all, Captain Badrock and his flashkits lit up the night, annihilating team after team of desperate Tau warriors with their snaz guns. The carnage was only stopped by the arrival of a Manta missile destroyer, which mercilessly cut down the flashkits in a volley of railgun fire. Badly wounded and out of cigars, the captain was forced to retreat. It is rumored that Badrock pursues the great and graceful ship to this day, hell-bent on revenge. Perhaps if the Tau had adhered to their usual hit-and-run tactics, they would still have carried the day, but Commander Farsight was known for his aggression and martial pride. The bloodiest battle was yet to come. As the battle of the northern enclaves escalated, Grog's embarked upon perhaps the most cunning plan yet. Central to the plan was the concept of retreat, a tactic all but unheard of in Ork culture. If it weren't for the large number of Blood Axe war bosses in Grog's employ, he would have never carried it off. As the forces of Commander Farsight pressed forward, the Ork front line fell back, hooting and hollering and clutching their heads. The Tau forces, caught in the thrill of the hunt, overextended themselves. Suddenly, the remainder of the Ork forces ambushed them from either side, closing up the Tau hunter cadres like a pair of giant green jaws. The Tau High Command were shocked to the core. Their forces had been outmaneuvered and trapped by the brutish alien invaders. They scrambled reinforcements to evacuate Commander Farsight, but Grog's war machine was too vicious. The war chief and his boys pursued the retreating Tau back to their base, burning it to the ground and looting as many Tau weapons as they could. With every bit of Deca they found, Grog's boys became more of a threat, and soon they were tooled up with more highly powered weaponry than even the greediest flashkits could wish for. The tide had turned, and it was now likely to turn back. Since that day, many more warbands have flocked to the war chief's banner. Grog has taken 3 Sept worlds in the space of a year, locked in a war of attrition that the Orks can afford, but the Tau cannot. No matter how many times Farsight and his cadre cut down the Orks, more follow close behind, as new armies of the Greenskins make their slow but deadly approach. This is the nature of the Greenskin culture. Once word spreads of a good fight, peace becomes a distant memory. So it is that the Tau Sept worlds are constantly embattled by the Greenskins of the Eastern Fringe, their fight for expansion, now a simple war for survival. And those were 40 facts on the Tau versus the Orks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Share it with your friends on Facebook, Reddit, whatever social media you guys use. It really helps out the channel when you do so, which is why we ask you to do so every single video. But again, like I told you guys in the beginning of the week, the Sound Alchemist left his codex at my house, so I've been going through the book trying to find a way to make the Tau Empire competitive on the tabletop. I mean, it's hard for me to say that they're really missing range, and it's really annoying when you're going through the book. 18 range, the guns are really powerful, but like 18 range, that's like you're forcing a Tau player to get closer to his enemies, which is what you're not supposed to do as a Tau player. You're not supposed to get close to your enemies. But it's just been interesting going through the codex, so I wanted to create this video with a bunch of situations or campaigns where the Orks and the Tau have fought. They truly are the two opposites of each other. So I play orcs, he plays Tau. So it's kind of funny that it just, by happenstance, we created this channel, and we're basically polar opposites of each other in terms of our armies. So I wanted to just highlight the orcs versus the Tau. Now, if you notice, I also included 2 different campaigns that I've talked about in different videos. I wanted to do that just because I really love the stories of both those heroes that we talked about. So I wanted to include this in like a huge conglomeration type of video. There is one big character within the Tau Empire that is not included in detail in this video, and I guess he should be, but the reason that I didn't is because his name comes up multiple times within this video, but that is Farsight. Farsight has a long history of killing orcs. He is a specialist orc killer, as much as that painfully, as much as that hurts me to say. But that is a character that has multiple 40 Facts videos, so go check those out. The Sound Alchemist has done a really good job of creating lore, or lore videos around his favorite character. So go check those out. Now let's continue on with our subscriber appreciation giveaways. We have 2 giveaways going on right now. The last day to participate in the Skitarii starter set giveaway is actually today. Or at least it should be today, depending on the schedule. I don't think I'm going to miss any days, but it should be today. So jump on over to that video to participate. But for today, you have the chance of winning a Pathfinder team box set. In order to win, all you have to do is, number 1, be a subscriber, because this is a subscriber appreciation giveaway. Number 2, like this video. 3, comment down in the comment section below, because we're going to choose the winner out of the comment section. And lastly, share this video with your friends on Facebook or Reddit, because again, it helps out the channel. Now, make sure your YouTube channel is set to public, because we will check that you are a subscriber, and your YouTube channel has to be public in order for us to see your subscriber list. But yeah, anybody can participate. We will announce the winner a week from now, which should be next Thursday or next Wednesday. I can't remember when this video is going to come out, but it's going to be a week from now. And lastly, thank you guys so much for letting us read you the lore of Warhammer 40K. We love the world, so us having this channel is awesome, because we get to read the lore to you guys, and you guys get to enjoy it. We do have a Patreon link down in the description. $1 a month helps us do these giveaways. Thanks for everything, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Oh, if you took up my freedom,